Hello and welcome, I am here the Scrivener, and this is a vlog. We are going to pretend like it's still September because this is a vlog from the last few weeks of September in which I discuss some historical fiction as well as nonfiction classics and some poetry that I have very strong opinions on, and I will leave you to it. Hello, so I'm about 5 hours now into the Golem and the Ginny, and I'm enjoying it a lot more than I was at first. I think that the writing is getting better and I'm getting into the characters. It just, at first, it took me a long time to get into the characters, but I have one major gripe, and that is, so this is historical fiction. I keep on forgetting to look up what time it is, but again, I think it's 19th or 20th century, and we're following this girl who's, like, just not interested in men, like, at all, and then she meets this guy, and, he follows her home, and then she's like, they talk about marriage, and she's like, yeah, I just don't really want to be, like, in marriage or whatever, and it's like, depends on the guy, and then they have sex, and it's like one of those things, like, she's like a proper bred woman from this era, and like, I just have a hard time that someone goes from not wanting sex and not, like, being interested in romance or anything like that to straight up being like, yeah, let's have sex in the next, like, 10 minutes. And we know because there's a time limit in the thing because there's some place she has to be. And then it has her go to the place where she's supposed to be and her being, like, completely transformed, and I'm just like, I don't like that, like, and she just seems, like, singularly focused on this. And she sounds, like, completely not proper and not, like, it doesn't seem like it's genuine to the time period or, like, what would be going on in this person's character. It seems very out of character for the person. And I just don't want people to be constantly like, and the best thing that could ever happen to you just happened, and you shall be transformed forever. Hello, so I'm a little emotional because I finished You're Not a Country, Africa after like 13 months, and I think I needed 13 months to digest it all because it's just such a heavy and beautiful book that just goes into so many different aspects that I just completely love and adore. And I'm also a little upset and emotional because I just recently found out that he died in March from a plane crash, and I just really mourn the fact that such an amazing and intelligent man died at like a young age. He was like 46. So I'm a little, like, sad about that. I found out a few days ago and I just kind of sat there and I was in the middle of reading and I just didn't know what to think about it. But he does have 2 other pieces of works. I'm very sad that he will not be producing any more, but I think that I'm going to read them eventually and just really soak in as much. And I think this is a book that I'll just constantly refer back to and read as well, just because I think it's such a powerful book for its real life issues, and also it makes me think about a lot about the world as well, and also in a way of creative writing of how the world operates and how history has a toll on the life that we live, and that really hit me as well. And then I am also reading, well, many books, but I'm also reading The Witch Doesn't Burn in this one. I'm not enjoying this one as much as the first. I read the third as well. The third one I was quite thoroughly disappointed in, especially at the end. It just went to mostly block text, and I just didn't appreciate it. The first one I loved because it talked a lot about a variety of things that just really hit home to me, abuse and sexual violence and all of those. This one is just quite man-hating, and I don't want to, like, say that because I know that's just a thing that a lot of people yell at women who write feminist things, but I think that it goes to the border of being very, like, us against you, and I think that in many possibilities we should try to coexist as much as possible and understand, because there are many guys that are supportive of women's rights and of feminism and all that. So to have the us against you, I don't think is ever a good mentality. To talk about semi, the othering of other people is not good. So othering men is not going to help us as feminists. Like, we should obviously realize the damage that a lot of men have done that, but putting men in a whole block text as one group of othering people that are a danger to us and are despicable human beings, I don't think is ever productive to feminism. I just don't agree with that. But I'm hoping, I'm not that far in so far, so I'm hoping that it will get better. So I think I'm just really disappointed in this, and I thought that it was going to be getting better, but I'm almost done. And I think this is pretty much the antithesis of, like, what I am as a person. And it says, make no apologies, accept no apologies, and, like, no. That's not how you live life. That's not how you live, like, as a decent human being. Like, I understand, like, standing up for yourself, but, like, I don't know, I think that I fundamentally disagree with how a lot of people regard, like, confidence and stuff like that. I just think that, like, being a nice person, and that sometimes that means that you will get mistreated, but that's okay because other people matter. And there's a balance of that, and I know that I'm not always good. I always err on, the side of selflessness, but, like, I think that it's better than that. It's much better to err on that level of selflessness and also know, like, because I know when people treat me like crap and I'll stand up for that. But, like, when people make honest mistakes or just jerks, sometimes they deserve second chances. And that's something that I believe so fundamentally in myself that I just have a lot of trouble, like, internalizing this. And then also, like, I found that the thing is that none of this is really emotional. There's a few poems that have been emotional, but primarily it's just very attacking and, like kind of just, like, self-love, but, like, kind of that kind of self-love. And I think that's why I'm just not jiving with it, because it's not emotional, and I expect poetry to be emotional and evocative, and most of this is just kind of like a rah-rah, and I'm just not a very rah-rah person. Like, I have a lot of, like, gumption and gusto, and I will, like, fight, and I am passionate, but that passion always comes with a side of love, and I think that being tactful in the way that you do things and not just, like, I'm gonna burn everything down. Yeah. Like, I get feisty, but, like, I always hope to preserve that level of love with my feistiness, and I think that's what bothers me about this. Okay, I just stopped talking, but I have more to say. So pretty much they're just talking about mercy now, and, like, to show them no mercy. It's just like, we let other people defeat us when we let them make us villains. If, like, we succumb to the mistreatment that other people treat us, like, especially talking about women, like, then you are just continuing that cycle of violence and aggression, and you're making someone else the other. And, like, that's so much what Pius Sami was talking about, like, the idea that, like, yeah, like, currently and for the last about 600 years the white race has, like, done that to so many others. Before that there was other areas of centralization, and, like, through that people have always been able to other people, and, like, I don't think that there's a future where, like, women are going to be oppressors of men, but, like, we can't fit into the models and fight fire with fire. Like, that I guess that's literally kind of what this book is about. But, like, I just don't believe that. Like, I think that is we need to triumph by being better and not fighting that. And I'm not saying that it's going to be the same, because there's some systematic issues with, like, I don't want to say issues, but, like, there's not really the same level of things like that would happen, but, like, it's still, I don't agree with you, Amanda Lovelace. Like, I respect you, but I don't agree with you. Hello, so it is now the 25th of September. I'm still in the middle of Age of Innocence. I'm doing a terrible job at doing this because I'm being really distracted. I binged, like, a lot of Lucifer. It's such a great show. I've never watched it before because I've always been, like, a little iffy about it. But I'm really enjoying the conversation around it. It takes itself really fun too, and I just really adore that. But I'm really excited to do Age of Innocence. I don't know how much of a mood I am in for, like, older stuff. There's a child that is judging me and the parent, so I'm gonna go. Bye. So I am often very forgetful when I am vlogging about the last thing that I discussed, so I kind of wanted it to sum up the thoughts on some of the books that I never ended up saying anything about. So I ended up giving the Golem and the Ginny a 2-star, I believe, and that was simply because I found it really compelling in many aspects. I really enjoyed it. I really thought that the writing style and the world that was being crafted through these characters was really cool, but it also went on for long passages in which I was just bored out of my mind. I thought that some of the representation and, like, behaviors because of the time period didn't make sense, especially, I'm totally forgetting the girl's name, but, like, I don't think that she was treated very well. I think that her story was not the best represented, and there is a sequel, and I do look forward to seeing how that world develops through that, but I'm a little skeptical. And then we also have Age of Innocence. I really enjoyed this story. It tells the story of a woman who flees her husband, who is an abusive man, or at least a bad man. It's not really gone into the specifics there, but he definitely is a man who is unfaithful to her and does not treat her well. And then it follows Newman, who is a man who is engaged to her cousin and is deriving between the right thing to do. And I'm very uncomfortable with infidelity, and that is something that I've always said very strongly. Cheating is never okay. So I was surprised by enjoying the content of it because it has less to do with the infidelity and more with the representation of two different cultures, two different lifestyles, and the decisions that we make. I also thought that this is the first book ever written by a woman that won the Pulitzer Prize, which is amazing. And it also is written during her childhood. It's written in the 1880s in New York, and it was written in 1920, and it's kind of looking at the time that is now lost after World War One. And I just thought a lot of the aspects were really cool, and the last chapter like made me bawl. So I would recommend it highly. I think that it's very analytical and also has a lot of feminism mixed into it. So I really appreciated it, even though there's some aspects that I would have changed. And yeah, I ended up giving 1 star to Amanda Lovelace's book, and I gave 5 stars to You're Not a Country, Africa. And I think those are all the books that I read. I finished Lucifer. It was really good. I can't wait for season 5. And happy reading and writing, and I will see you very soon.